Okay, people. So it is like, well, I don't know. I think it's February 3rd. My short-term memory, people, is so out of whack. Like, what most people don't understand is I actually don't feel very well. I really don't. My body aches all the time. I've got this pressure in this area, right? You know, my eyes are extremely, I'm getting that pressure. Like, I feel like, it's just pressure, people. A lot of pressure. This tooth is really, it's area in here with the teeth are really bothering me. And short-term memory is lapsing all the time. I wake up sore. Ears are ringing all the time. So, I work around all this, right? I tend to ignore it for the most part, right? So what I want to say is, I just want to put it out there. I just want to put the vibe out there. I could almost say that, a friend from heaven has showed up, right? Kind of like God sent, you know what I mean? All things happen for a reason, people. And if what we're talking about, this friend and I, this new friend of mine, if what we're talking about actually comes to fruition, is going to put a whole new spin on what the foundation represents in terms of international movement. Taking it back to the core, back into 1999, 2000, 2001, 2002, and so on, right? Because this person is in the United States of America, up in the Michigan area. And he might help me do a fundraiser for that state. Because that's how the foundation operates, right? It works within the states or the provinces where it's located for the people of those states or provinces. So we've just begun the initial stages of discussing a fundraiser for the state of Michigan within the area this person resides in, right? I think it's Detroit, which is good for me, right? That's up by Lansing. That's up by Malcolm X's sister, Yvonne, where she used to live, right? And I told him what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. And it's not something that they normally do in terms of him and his group. But he said he'd discuss it with his group, right? And he'd get back to me. So I'm putting the vibe out there, people, right? Put that good vibe. I says, what we need to do is do it with goodwill, and then what we say we're going to do it. In terms of, if we say we're going to fundraise for this, we fundraise and then we do what we said we were going to do with those funds as they're coming in. And apparently he's involved with several charities or charitable acts within his community. So he's already involved within his own community in terms of charitable acts. I'm just using the word charitable acts because it's a broad stroke, because that could mean many, 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 many things, people. It could be something as simple as supporting school lunch meal programs or snack programs for children, or, starting housing initiatives, as to what I'm doing out here in the city of Surrey, British Columbia, Canada, with the most vulnerable in our society right now. Or it could be doing art projects with the elderly and in old folks' homes. It could be community gardens. It could be a lot of things. It could be anything and everything. So when I say charitable acts, that's what I mean, right? I'm putting a broad sweep to it, right? So I gave him a few options as to how I would like to approach this, right? And then, he gave me what he thought he'd like to expand on in terms of, if we end up doing a fundraiser, he'd like to support more than just one group, and that's fine with me, right? Because that's what those trust accounts represent, right? It represents meeting multiple needs within the community in a short period of time, so that as we rise, we rise up together. We don't leave others behind. We come together and we rise together. That's why those multiple trust accounts came into existence. It was to meet the various different needs in our community under that broad sweep of charitable acts, right? So nobody got left behind. So in that case, we're on the same page, right? Oh. So in that case, we're on the same page. So I don't have to explain myself, because he's already intuitively aware of that concept, I guess you can say. Because that's what he wants to build on, right? He doesn't want to leave some people behind. He wants to bring everybody together so that we rise together. So if we do any kind of fundraising, there will be multiple groups that will benefit from it. In a nutshell, that's what I'm saying. Right? Obviously, I'm saying that whatever we do, we keep it simple. Right? And I'm doing this video in part for him, to show him that I'm very supportive of even just him thinking about what he's thinking about in terms of partnering up and helping me to carry on with the initiative of the foundation that I work on as a whole. Because without the United States of Canada, without the United States of America, Canada is not complete in terms of the nonprofit as a whole, right? Because it operates under a federal trademark name within Canada and the United States. So if one falls off the grid, I don't know where that's going to leave Canada. So this is why I say it's heaven sent. This man is like heaven sent, God sent. You know, it's just, right? At one point in the past, I friended him through Facebook. That's what happened. Because I'm always doing outreach with the nonprofit, right? You people know that watch my videos. And I don't know, out of the blue, I can't even remember. I think it was last year sometime, right? And he accepted my friendship. So, I was looking at his page and I realized that he does promotion, and it says, "Oh, you are promotion, that's good," because I'm not a very good promoter. Never have been. I've got all this drama, right? So, would you be interested in helping me to promote what I work on, right? So that's kind of like where we're at right now. We're just kind of formulating a plan, and he's going to take it to his group and see if they want to participate, right? To build on that initial nationwide gathering of people to address the various different needs within our community as a whole. You come in with the micro and you build on the macro to get the macro results. That's why we need Canada and the United States. Because if we want that macro, we need both countries, because we're connected together through a border. And the political winds shift between the two borders, good or bad, doesn't matter. So the more that people are in step with dealing with local community issues as well as their provincial and state issues, the better it is that we can stabilize out our countries right across the board between the two countries. That's what the foundation helps to facilitate on a I don't want to say community level, as in when you think about your local community. What I mean to say is on a interpersonal community level, just as human beings, as we interact with each other and coexist in a civilization that's moving forward with progress. Right? So, I just wanted to put that out there, right? That, that's the vibe right now. And that's a good vibe, right? And it's doable. It's something that people can do. And, hopefully fear won't get in the way of progress. Kind of like this little house, right? I think people are, well, as a matter of fact, I know people are afraid because they're like, oh, well, recovery, you need to get a license. And I'm like, well, first of all, this is not a recovery house. I'm not opening up a recovery house. This is supportive housing that's going into co-op development. I am not prejudging. I am not being prejudiced. I am not casting judgment. I am not discriminating about the people that are moving into this house. I truly see them as adults. I am trying to treat them as adults. I believe in their ability as adults. I look forward to their various expertise within their own life experiences in terms of after everything settles down and we start, like, as a group contemplating and building on how we want to move the program forward. Everybody's going to come with their own attributes and their own experiences, with their own expertise, with their own advice and contributions in terms of how we should do things. And we're going to build on those strengths, right? So if you see it like that, you don't see it as a recovery house, right? And then I just remind people that, we are operating under a federal trademark name. And that means something. We are not committing any crimes. We haven't done anything wrong. If people are afraid to leave the streets when an available housing situation comes, open to them, but they're afraid to leave because of what might come to them when they get to that situation in terms of legality, well, you're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do this. Don't breathe! Just get it out of your head. Don't worry about that stuff. What we're doing is legal. And we're doing it under a federal umbrella, right? In terms of a federal trademark that gives us the right to exercise goodwill and build on programs as we come together under this umbrella for change. And it has to come on that micro level before you can get into that macro level. And it just so happens, as the little house is coming together, it seems like some of my American friends are coming together to keep the two countries on the same path of progress. Right? Because both countries struggle with housing crises, right? So that's kind of where things are today, although I'm struggling with my own personal health issues, and it's really hard for me, people, to get motivated to focus on things, especially when it comes to paperwork because of this stuff, right? Now, I did manage to get my taxes done, so my personal taxes are done. Yay! And then I'm going to take a piece of paper and I'm just going to write down the things that need to be done, like nonprofit books. I have to set up books for the little house. I've got to, what else do I got to do? Obviously Uncle John's paperwork. There's other things I have to do in terms of like paperwork, right?
Good morning.
Good morning. Just wait. So I figure if I make a little list and just try and do some paperwork every second day at least, I'll start chipping away at it, and it will get better. And so therefore, this is why I told this fella, just keep it simple. Whatever you do, just keep it simple for now, because the rest will come later. We can get technical and more involved with it later after the fact, right? What we want to do is just get that little ball rolling, you know, get that stone, you know, rolling down, and just get it going, right? So it may very well, people, be another initiative coming on board in terms of building on community progress for the betterment of people in the community, right? And in this case, you know, the heartbeat's going to start in Michigan. Don't forget, we got Texas still there on the map, right? It's just, oh yes, see, I have to write down web pages. It's kind of hard for me to do web pages when I can't see very well anymore, people. So, I don't know. I'm not complaining. I'm not trying to be a whiner, right? I'm just saying, I'm just informing people. If something happens to me and you don't hear from me anymore, I'm letting you know why. I'm letting you know why in advance, because there is something wrong with me, okay? But as it is, because I didn't do my taxes, I don't qualify for health care at this point. I'm expected to pay for health care, even though I'm on multiple barrier disability. It's not full disability, it's half disability. And because when I did put in my disability application, because I could think, people, because I could think and I could reason and I could formulate, they denied it, basically, right? They wanted me running to the doctor 5 times a week in order before I would qualify for disability in terms of the official disability on a provincial level. And because I very, very, ever rarely go to the doctor, you know, 1, in part because I'm busy, and 2, because I don't feel that I get quality health care through the Fraser Health Authority, and, you know, especially under the BC Liberal regime government, I didn't, you know, I didn't get quality health care, people. You know, I just kind of stay away from that, right? Because I don't trust them, you know. I don't trust them any more than I trust what's going on with Uncle John's court case, right? So, you know, the body, when it aches like this and you're struggling, it's telling you something, right? But there's nothing I can do about it at this point, right? I can't get proper dentistry done to fix this problem, right? You know, and you know, I'm a targeted individual. For the simple fact is, I am suing Fraser Health Authority, and they have nurses working within their system that has a network of other nurses that are unethical and unscrupulous, to the point where they, you know, seriously medically kidnap old folks for their assets and then trash the families that those people came from, just so they can prop up their own pension plans. Like I said, if Fraser Health, if you're watching this, Andrew, that will never change until it's dealt with in court. But at the end of the day, whatever you think that you're doing, you're not going to stop progress, okay? You're not going to stop progress. You think you might be stopping progress by hurting me, hurting my family, hurting my grandchildren. You think, hurting Uncle John, you think you're in control of maintaining on that progress. But I'm letting you know now, you're not. Because people want change. They're tired of the old okie dokie. They're tired of the, you can't breathe, because you happen to be employed by the taxpayers. And because the taxpayers employ you, for some reason you seem to think that you're way up there high on a pedestal, better than the taxpayers who pay your wage, even though it's the taxpayers who pay your wage. So, if something happens to me, we know why. But it's not going to stop progress, okay? And I'm going to make my little list. And I'm going to do the best that I can in terms of following through with the paperwork in order to make sure that the people that are making the effort to bring in that change get a fair chance, the fair opportunity, and fair rewards for their efforts. So that's all this video is about.